President of Disciples Escoffier Asia Pacific, as well as Richard Gillet. Where's Richard? There he is, who is the Vice President. Thank you very much for hosting today and organizing everything, as well as the rest of our panelists. And we have the President of Disciples Escoffier Indonesia, Gilles Marx. And of course, our guest of honor today, Guillaume Gomez, who is the French representative for the French President Emmanuel Macron for French gastronomy. So it's a very, very big honor. In a few minutes, I will introduce the rest. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Also, we have Chris Salins, who is the Indonesian Disciples Escoffier Indonesia for sponsorship, yeah? The chairman and partnerships, sponsorship and partnerships. Chris is also the chairman of the Bali Restaurants and Cafes Association. So there's a double honor there. And then to my left, we have Terry Mueller, who has joined us from the Asia Pacific region. Yes, also Disciples Escoffier Asia Pacific. And to my left, unfortunately, I wasn't introduced formally, but from the Philippine delegation.
Philippine delegation.
That's right, the Philippine delegation. So very much a welcome to everybody over here. And Chris, maybe you'll introduce the gentleman to your left, because I also did not have the chance to meet him.
Christian Eulid, I'm the International Secretary for the Disciples Escoffier Association.
So it's very nice to have also a representative from Disciples Escoffier International, which is, of course, the founding body of the entire association. As many of you know, there's 33,000 chefs within the association and over 100,000 members. The Asia Pacific delegation has 13 teams, if I'm not incorrect. Lauren has kindly
You're
let
exactly
me know.
right. And
exactly right. And we actually
the countries coming.
we
just
listed
right
them
now.
all right away. We have Australia, Cambodia, of course, which is Richard's delegation. We have China, we have Hong Kong, we have India, we have Macau, we have the Philippines, we have New Caledonia, we also have Thailand, as well as Vietnam, Tahiti, Korea, and Singapore.
You said it all.
Indonesia.
Yes.
Sorry, India's not in. India's not. And then we also have two chefs representing Indonesia that are very special to us and big stars on the local and international culinary scene. First of all, we have Mandif Waroka, who is the owner of Mandif Blanco, yes, in both Jakarta and Bali, as well as Chef Wayan Kresnayasa, who's the owner and founder of Home by Chef Wayan, which has opened about 6 months ago. So welcome to the entire delegation. Welcome to all the guests of honor. Thank you for Elizabeth International for hosting this wonderful event today. And without any further ado, we would like to introduce our most honored guest today, the representative of the Indonesian Republic Ministry of Tourism, Ibu Rizky Handayani Mustafa, who is the Deputy for Tourism for Products and Event Organizing and Events. So, Ibu Rizky, please, if you would come forward and give us your statement.
Thank you so much. Can I speak in Bahasa Indonesia? Okay. And please translate to English and French.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to thanks to the organizers. Ya, terima kasih banyak to invite me on these events. For me, it's very important. It's for me personally, actually, and also for the ministry. It's very important events that because this is aligned with our program in Indonesia to develop gastronomy tourism in Indonesia. Saya sangat senang sekali bisa hadir di sini karena ini adalah intinya dari chef-chef dan sekolah pariwisata, sekolah kuliner di dunia. Jadi I'm very delightful to be here this afternoon. On behalf of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, on behalf of the Minister of Mr. Sandiaga Uno, I would like to welcome you all in Bali yeah, the heart of gastronomy tourism in Indonesia. Yeah, and then I just want to ask you to enjoy the Indonesian food and also the Balinese food that maybe Mr. Wayan, Chef Wayan and Chef Mandif will be show it to you. And because it's this week and next week is very busy week in Bali because of the summit of G20s. And we choose Chef Wayan as our chef for the sports program for all first ladies who come to Bali. Yeah, thank you, Chef Wayan. We already tried several times, you know, the food, and then test by the president team, and then last week, yeah, we agree with all the foods that will be prepared for all the first ladies. As you know, that next 5 years we have a program called Indonesia Spice Up the World, which is mean that we want to introduce, to promote our spices to the world, and also our culinary, our food, and also we want to promote Indonesia as the destination for gastronomy. We know that France already famous. That's, I think, the most famous country for the culinary or gastronomy is France. So I'm really happy that now we have the Symposium France-Indonesia Culinary Bridge here in order that to share our knowledge about the Indonesian food as well of French food, and then maybe next we can have the food, Indonesian and French food that known as the two countries' food maybe later on. And we also, in these 3 years up to 2024, we also want to promote this in international market, and I really hope that next year maybe we can go together to France, to Paris, or I don't know, the city in Paris, in French, that to promote Indonesian gastronomy. So once again, I really thanks to be invited and to be here this afternoon, and I really want to come to the gala dinner on the 10th, because I will be in Bali for the next 2 weeks. I will be here, and then really open to have a discussion together with you. Thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup.
Terima kasih Ibu Rizky Mustafa dari Kementerian Pariwisata dan Kreatif Ekonomi atas sambutannya. Thank you very much for your kind remarks on behalf of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. We're very pleased that you could join us today and also speak with all the lovely delegates. So that's very, very interesting. All right, we would like to continue with the introduction of our main guest of honor that's flown here all the way from France. With no further ado, I would like to introduce Guillaume Gomez, the Master of French Gastronomy and the Special Representative of French President Emmanuel Macron. Please, s'il vous plaît.
Merci beaucoup, chère madame. Merci pour vos mots à l'égard de la France et à l'égard de la gastronomie.
Thank you very much, dear madam. Thank you on behalf of France to such a nice word about the gastronomy.
Rapidement, pour ne pas être trop long, puisque le but, c'est que le panel puisse parler et puis surtout qu'on puisse répondre à vos questions. Juste vous dire que c'est un plaisir pour moi d'être ici. Merci d'avoir organisé ça. Merci à la délégation Escoffier, Asie, ici, d'avoir organisé cette semaine de la gastronomie Escoffier.
So just to be very quick, because we would like to have all the delegates to be able to speak. Thank you for the delegation of Indonesia to welcome us here in Bali. And
aujourd'hui, mon rôle est celui de représenter le président de la République, ambassadeur de France pour la gastronomie. Il est de créer des liens envers celles et ceux qui le souhaitent, bien évidemment. Et on ressent depuis les 4 jours que je suis ici que l'Indonésie souhaite que la France soit un partenaire privilégié pour la gastronomie.
so Guillaume is the representative of France, and is very pleased to see in Indonesia that we want to build bridge between those two countries. He has spent a wonderful time around, and he would like to extend this bridge and this communication on behalf of the French government and the gastronomy.
Donc je n'ai aucun doute que l'année prochaine, nous nous retrouverons à Paris. Il y a déjà beaucoup de choses qui se font avec la Maison de l'Indonésie à Paris. Donc je n'ai aucun doute que des chefs indonésiens, les chefs français de la délégation ici seront en France et on sera là pour vous accueillir comme il faut et pour que ce pont entre nos deux pays, aussi bien culturel, économique que gastronomique, puisse fonctionner. Et donc je vous dis à très bientôt à Paris.
So he's very confident that next year you will be able to visit France and to extend this bridge that we start today between Indonesia and France. He has already have some communication with La Maison d'Indonesia, the Indonesian house in Paris, and it's not only culinary, but it's also the cultural and the whole representation of the country that they will be very pleased to welcome next year. He is very confident that it will be done, and now would like to thank you for.
Thierry Macassi.
Terima kasih.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Guillaume Gomez. That was lovely. And thank you, Laurent, for the on-time translation. Thank you so much. All right, next we would like to introduce some members from our panel. We also do have a representative from Kadin, but we'll be introducing him a little bit later. Next, we would like to introduce Gilles Marx, the president of Disciples Escoffier Indonesia.
Yes.
Please, Gilles.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you, Ibu, for being here today. Pardon. Ouais, tout à fait. Merci d'être venu aujourd'hui et de nous supporter. Donc, je suis le président de Disciples Escoffier Indonésie et j'ai le privilège d'avoir ouvert cette délégation l'année dernière. Donc, en une année, on a déjà 40 membres avec aussi bien des chefs indonésiens que certains de nos compatriotes français qui nous font plaisir de nous rejoindre. Et
Yeah, I will try to summarize because Gilles is the president. He's very pleased to have opened this delegation. Already extremely dynamic because there are already 40 members in the delegation, and he would like also to thank you all of you today for your support and for coming to attend this symposium.
Yeah, on a insisté en ouvrant cette délégation ici, d'abord de représenter bien sûr les chefs indonésiens parce qu'on est en Indonésie, mais d'avoir aussi les chefs français, d'avoir ce mix de culture. Je pense que c'est vraiment intéressant.
So that was very important that after opening this delegation, it was to represent the Indonesian chef community, but also to represent the French community in Indonesia, so to have this bridge between the two gastronomical cultures for the delegation.
Et je pense que l'organisation des disciples escoffiers peut vraiment aider à construire ce pont entre la France et l'Indonésie aussi.
The Escoffier delegation, the Disciple Escoffier delegation, is thinking that it's very important, and is thinking that this delegation can help to build the bridge between Indonesia and France for this particular culinary matter.
Because we have a very white society now. Pardon, en français. On a une association qui est très active. On a intronisé plus de 30 000 membres.
So this is a very active association all around the world, more than 30,000 members around the world, and
dans 30 pays.
In 30 countries.
And donc on pourra pour sûr aider les Indonésiens à aller en France parce qu'on a bien sûr beaucoup de membres en France et donc on peut faciliter tous les programmes qu'on va créer l'année prochaine et les années à venir.
So the Escoffier delegation of Indonesia will be the bridge to build and to bring the Indonesian chefs delegation to come to France and to create what is already started, all the different matters to help the Indonesia to be part of this culinary world.
Et on est sûr que ça va être quelque chose de très excitant pour la France aussi bien que pour l'Indonésie.
Exciting time for France and Indonesia to see further what we will do.
Yeah, avec tous les épices qu'on a ici, tous les produits asiatiques que beaucoup de Français vont avoir la chance de découvrir.
So the richness of the spices from Indonesia, all the local product that we will be very lucky to discover.
et pour introduire cette cuisine avec toutes ses saveurs et toutes ses différences aussi variées qu'elle est dans ce grand pays.
So, and also to introduce the Indonesian culinary with all the complexity, the flavors that you are very lucky to have in here.
Merci beaucoup.
Terima kasih, Bapak Gilles Marx. Thank you very much, Mr. Gilles Marx. We will continue on with the program now and introduce our next panelist for today, a man that needs no introduction here in Bali or Indonesia. Please give a warm welcome to Chris Salans.
Saya akan coba dalam bahasa Indonesia kalau bisa.
Hebat sekali,
Karena
hebat.
saya jembatan di antara Prancis dan Indonesia.
Luar biasa.
Saya tidak ada banyak yang saya bisa omong karena mereka sudah bilang semua. Cuma saya di sini untuk membantu, benar-benar membangun jembatan di antara budaya Indonesia. Karena saya sudah tinggal di sini selama 25 tahun. Saya merasa saya mengerti lumayan banyak tentang budaya Indonesia dan masakan Indonesia. Dan karena itu saya undang Chef Wayan Kresna sebagai wakil Bali, karena menurut saya dia chef yang paling di luar biasa untuk Bali, right? And Chef Mandi Fuaroka. Dan saya harap saya bisa bantu sebagai jembatan untuk membawa pengetahuan mereka, ilmu mereka ke luar negeri. Ya, saya sendiri tidak perlu cari sesuatu dari ini. Saya cuma kayak ketua mau bantu Indonesia maju ke luar negeri karena sudah lama kita bicara tentang tujuan ini, ya, 20 tahun lebih, right? Dan pardon. Il faut traduire.
Il n'y aura pas de français. I'm sorry, not in French.
Excuse-moi.
Okay, I would just like to quickly translate a little bit. I'm not searching for a lot out of this, but acting as a mentor and to some of the Indonesian chefs that we're bringing to this cultural bridge between France and Indonesia. And that's why I've invited Mandi Fuaroka as well as Chef Wayan Kresna to be a part of this, as well as my own part in the association. That's kind of the summary.
Terima kasih banyak.
Please continue.
No, that's it. No, saya tidak mau tambah sesuatu, cuma saya di sini untuk membantu. Dan silakan, saya harap kita bisa benar-benar membangun sesuatu yang tidak cuma omong aja, tapi action, right? So dengan chef, kalau saya bisa panggil chef Bapak Guillaume Gomez, di sini saya what's the word I'm looking for?
Mendukung.
Aucune langue. Saya pasti bahwa kita bisa mengakhiri dengan aksi tahun depan, karena dia benar-benar paling atas di Prancis, right?
I'm sure that with Guillaume Gomez here, that we can bring this action to the rest of the world and overseas. And I hope that I can continue to be a part of being that access and bridge. So before we let you go though, Chris, Bapak Chris Salans juga sebagai Ketua Bali Restaurants and Cafes Association. Mungkin bisa disebut sedikit tentang itu, or maybe you can tell us a little bit about the Bali Restaurants and Cafes Association.
Waktu pandemi kita merasa Bali perlu ambil aksi untuk mengawasi sampah dan melindungi what do you call the environment? Lingkungan. Jadi kita tahu di Bali ada Bali Hotel Association, ada banyak asosiasi, tapi tidak ada asosiasi khusus untuk restoran dan kafe. Jadi kita membangun asosiasi Bali Restaurant and Cafe Association, di mana untuk sementara ini kita cuma undang-undang new members, tapi ke depan kita ingin kasih training dan kayak SOP untuk cara proper waste management, biar dari sisi restoran kita bisa membantu untuk melindungi environment.
Lingkungan.
Saya terlalu gugur, jadi saya tidak bisa omong, maaf. Yeah.
Terima kasih, Chef Chris. So basically, it's just saying that also as part of the Bali Restaurants and Cafes Association during the pandemic, it was born in order to help with some of the waste management issues on Bali, as well as to promote and bring up all the restaurants and chefs and cafes that exist here, which is one of the largest industries and destinations for Bali to come here for culinary and dining. Thank you so much, Pak Chris. Terima kasih. Now I would like to introduce our very own Chef Wayan Kresnayasa with his own restaurant. He's the chef and founder of Home by Chef Wayan. Please, Bapak Wayan, silakan.
Selamat siang semuanya. Maybe I'm going to use English. My Indonesian is not good. My English is not perfect. So I will do like a 50-50. So a little bit of myself. So I'm Wayan Kresnayasa, born and raised in Nusa Penida. I'm still new in Bali. So 6 years ago, I work at Potato Head. But before that, I live in the US and studying cooking around and learning all the technique. And then 6 years ago, Potato Head calling me, giving me a job at a GUILLAUME restaurant, and then end up taking care of all the property in Bali, Jakarta, and Hong Kong. And then this year, April, so I just exit the company, and then I doing my own journey. Which is I'm open a small cafe. Ibu Rizky, thank you for coming to try the food. And then I'm just launching. Sorry.
Baik, saya akan terjemah. I think it's pretty clear, tapi terima kasih. Saya juga baru di Bali 6 tahun sejak saya datang dari luar negeri, khususnya di Amerika Serikat dan juga Australia. Saya belajar dan juga kerja. Sekarang saya sudah di Bali dan membukakan restoran saya. Terima kasih Ibu Rizky bisa mampir dan coba makanannya. Silakan Pak.
And then May this year, I launched a cookbook with Maya Kartiasa. So we both collaborate to write about Bali cuisine and also the story about Bali from myself and Maya as well. So Maya from Ubud, from a royal family, and I'm from the village, island Nusa Penida. So we kind of like have not a different culture, but the way we cook, the way we eat, and then also our family is different. So we both sharing all this experience to the world, basically.
Would you like to say that in French?
No, I think
No?
they all
It's
understand,
okay.
so yeah, no.
Okay.
They're all good.
Kita juga membuat tahun ini semacam buku resep yang ada semacam kolaborasi kerjasama di antara Maya di Ubud mewakili kerajaan dan saya dari desa sebetulnya menjembatani dua dunia itu dengan buku resep ini yang kita launching tahun ini.
So for me, one of my wish is to the local, to the young cook who like to cook or choosing this path. So first, we needed to be proud we are from Indonesia, because Indonesia is so rich, so many spices that we can explore more, and also the cuisine as well. From I can say Aceh, yeah. So Aceh, Papua, north to Morotai, and then down south. So it's a lot. So for me, even like still overwhelmed, and then still learning to understand all this Indonesian cuisine. I mean, Bali, I'm still learning. I mean, you know, Indonesia even like more, I need to explore more.
Saya bangga jadi chef dari Indonesia. Sebetulnya kita sebagai negara yang sangat luas dengan banyak budaya, ada segala macam cara memasakkan dan juga segala macam resep yang bisa dilatih kepada chef-chef yang muda, termasuk mungkin chef-chef yang ada di Escoffier Week ini ya Pak Wayan.
Yes.
Silakan.
And then, so I spent about like 6.5 years cooking professionally in the US. from what do you call it? Canteen, not the canteen. As a food court. Food court, fine dining. I not even know. I know fine dining because I ate at Chris Allen's restaurant. I brought my wife. She can tell Chris Allen why I choose this path. So because he told me that like, hey chef, I love to cook. I want to learn in a professional kitchen. And then he came to the dining room, said, go to the US and study, come back as soon as you can. So I did. Thank you, chef. Yeah, so I spent 4.5 years in the US cooking and fine dining.
Jadi saya belajar 4,5 tahun di Amerika Serikat setelah saya makan di restorannya Pak Chris Mosaic di Ubud dan disuruh keluar negeri untuk belajar dulu, baru itu bisa kembali dan belajar di sini lagi.
Yeah, so that's from myself. So just a short story. You know, if you need more of my story, you can just ask me directly. So I don't want to take more time. So thank you so much.
Terima kasih Chef Wayan atas sambutannya. Next, we would like to introduce Mandif Waroka, who is the chef owner of Blanco Par Mandif in both Jakarta and Bali. Silakan.
Selamat sore nih Bu ya. Good evening everybody. My name is Mandif. I'm the chef owner of Blanco Par Mandif. Short story about Blanco Par Mandif actually in elevate Indonesian cuisines. I will say my knowledge, my discipline is French. I learn a lot. I study in Bandung, but whenever I travel, I always in charge in French restaurants. I almost before I almost get back to Dubai actually at the time. It was with Mediterranean French restaurant. I was the chef de cuisine. I'm in charge of chef de cuisine, but unluckily, it happened. My wife got pregnant in Bali, so that day I decided to live in Bali. I think because I believe this is amazing island, less stress for me. You know, in the kitchen you work 9 to 11 and non-stop. So when I apply in one restaurant in Bali, it's quite interesting. I went to the restaurant. Okay, they called me interview. I said, what restaurant is? Friends. Okay, then that's me. I did an interview in the restaurant. I said, let me see the restaurant first before I decided the job. So I got the job in Jumana restaurants. Actually, this is friends with Japanese. Just a short story about myself. And then 2012, I opened restaurants Blanco Par Mandif. It's Indonesian-based cuisine, but the discipline is French. That's the most important thing. Why these organizations happen to be here? Maybe it's heaven by the God. Why? It's helping Indonesian cuisines. Yeah, it's helping Indonesian cuisine a lot.
Saya akan terjemahi sedikit. Jadi 2012 ya,
yeah,
kita buka di sini. Dan sejak itu saya juga mempelajari semua cuisine Indonesia dan juga coba membawa dan mempromosikan ke luar negeri. Sebagai chef sendiri, kita kerja sangat panjang jam-jamnya. Jadi saya milih Bali sebagai pusat saya untuk mendirikan restoran sendirinya dulu.
Yeah. Jadi Bali is my hometown. I was Manado tapi saya ngerasa hidup saya sudah di Bali. Ya sudah. Short story. Why I think this discipline Escoffier is very important. Not saying that Indonesian food is bad, but you know French cuisine has a structure. Jadi makanan Prancis ini punya struktur. Di situ kita bisa belajar dengan langkah, dengan step. Sedangkan makanan Indonesia kita masuk tanpa ada struktur. Semua dari ibu kita. Kita belajar, kita bingung dari mana. Jadi mungkin dengan berkembangnya dengan secara disiplin dari makanan Prancis, saya rasa this member Escoffier will mungkin suatu saat saya akan bisa menstructure. Jadi ini bisa menjadi kurikulum yang mudah dipelajari di Indonesia.
Okay, I will translate back into English. Indonesian cuisine, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that it lacks a certain kind of structure or definition that French cuisine has, and that we can help it by applying some of the technologies as well as lessons learned from studying French cuisine into bridging with Indonesian cuisine.
Ya, more or less. Jadi ibu susah belajar di sekolah. kita tidak bisa buku belajar. Kalau French, we'll start with 5 basic sauces, right? If you know basic sauces, we have to make mayonnaise. Tapi pas Indonesia, saya mau belajar dari mana? Dari makanan Ambon kah? Makanan Jawa kah? Jadi belajarnya bingung. Contohnya bisa kita structure as a concept of French cuisines. The concept, okay, we learn the sauce first. Okay, dan kedua, misalnya 5 saus kuning, saus merah, saus putih. Then we have this space, saus di Bali. Jadi dia punya belajarnya untuk mudah. Jadi if you tell the Indonesian now school, we only the student only understand French cuisine. Itu juga. Jadi pola pikir itu kita bisa gunakan supaya anak-anak kita ini, the next Indonesian chef, have a structures so they can grow as a management. Pada suatu saat nanti as a chef, chef is a head. Jadi dia berpikir luas, bisa mengembangkan cuisine ini lebih jauh lagi.
So basically when we teach the young chefs of Indonesia, we would like to give a structure similar to what the French also teach their young chefs, in that there are 3 basic sauces that we start with here rather than the 5, the red, the white, and the yellow. And that is the premise of Indonesian cuisine, and that's where we would like to start building the bridge from.
I will say another what important about this organization is people now is traveling, and it's become a chip. So the acculturations with flavors is another game in the future, bro. So we cannot be stand as Indonesians because the technology, everything is developing, berkembang. Jadi saya rasa dengan with this organization we also can learn other cultures, so we can meet in the middle and what next the Indonesian food is, because we cannot predict what will be the next. Culinary has a trend. It moves around, like Spanish was and the 2040 well bully was the talking, and then they move to fat duck, keep changing. Why makes difference? Actually the flavors. Maybe one day the acculturation will make the next trends of cuisine in the world. That's why it's important when we accept, when we learn from other cuisine, especially French, because they only have one thing that's very important to the chef, is the discipline. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Terima kasih. Gilles would like to say some comments about that.
Yes, sorry. I just want to thank Mandip for what he said. Pour ce qu'il a dit, parce que Auguste Escoffier a été le précesseur de cette organisation et de cette discipline.
So I want to say thank you for what has been said, because Auguste Escoffier has been the founder of this discipline and the origin of the structures that we have in the French cuisine now.
Il a écrit ce fameux livre, le guide culinaire, déjà plus de 150 ans, qui a déjà pratiquement 100 ans.
So he has written the book, the Guide Culinaire, Culinary Guide, more than 100 years ago.
Et qui décrit tous ces procédés et qui a plus de 5000 recettes.
This is the perfect description of all the process to do in the kitchen, plus 5,000 recipes.
Et en outre, il a aussi fait l'organisation de la cuisine d'aujourd'hui.
And he has organized what is nowadays the kitchen organization, from the chef to the first commis in the kitchen.
And that is still, qui est toujours de phase aujourd'hui.
And it's what we are all working under still today, this military style applied to kitchen.
And he already said at that time, il a déjà dit en ce temps-là, que la cuisine était en constante évolution et que les chefs devaient continuellement réapprendre et se refaire. La cuisine est un art et ça continue, et elle continue de changer tout comme tous les autres.
So Escoffier said more than 100 years ago that the cuisine, was always in evolution, and it says we have to keep going in to keep learning, to keep inventing, to be modern. This is what was Escoffier, and is still the principle of the disciple today.
Et je pense que c'est là aussi qu'on peut beaucoup aider à structurer, la cuisine indonésienne.
And it's where we could be very helpful and to be assisting the Indonesian cuisine to bring this process and to bring this technique for the evolution of the Indonesian culinary world.
Et on sera bien sûr très content d'aider nos amis indonésiens et de les supporter.
And we will be more than happy to be on the side to help the Indonesian cuisine.
Robert would like to say something.
Je voudrais juste ajouter quelque chose que certains de vous, les Français, connaîtront. Mais en fait, la deuxième raison pour laquelle j'étais vraiment très content que Guillaume soit là, c'est qu'en fait, quand on parle de Escoffier, la technique, etc., le guide culinaire n'est pas pour tout le monde. Il est compliqué à lire.
So one of the reasons that I was very happy that Guillaume came today and to assist the symposium is that the culinary book is a complex book. It's not that easy.
So, depuis tout à l'heure, j'entends parler de transmission, etc. Et Guillaume, au-delà de ses qualités, modeste, mais il oublie quand même, on oublie de préciser quelque chose, c'est qu'il a écrit un livre qui s'appelle Pas à pas. Où, en fait, je conseille à tous les gens qui sont là, il est en anglais maintenant ou pas? Ok, maybe we can talk about it. Peut-être on peut trouver pour le traduire en...
Oh, it should be in French.
En indonésien, pas encore.
No. Robert wanted to add that Guillaume has been extremely modest, but he's also written a book named Step by Step that has already been translated in several languages, and I believe it has been in Chinese and other. So English should be one of the languages, and it would be very helpful for all the chefs to read it as well.
Ce livre-là a reçu beaucoup de récompenses professionnelles et quand même connu comme une transition qu'il y a eu entre le guide culinaire et ce qui est aujourd'hui, parce qu'en fait, d'arriver à avoir la transmission du savoir, c'est un joli mot, mais ensuite, quand il faut le mettre en pratique, c'est compliqué. Donc je trouve que ce livre qui a été écrit, que j'ai bien sûr, que tu vas me signer évidemment, merci, mais en fait, c'est un des livres qui doit devenir un des fondamentaux. Comme on dit toujours, le guide culinaire doit être un des fondamentaux dans la cuisine. Ben, je suis désolé, quand vous devez parler à des jeunes coup de le guide culinaire, il le tourne dans tous les sens parce qu'il faut déjà avoir un peu d'expérience avant de comprendre, par exemple, la recette.
So that
Thank you.
The book Step by Step is the perfect relay between the guide culinaire, which is extremely complex, and because when you start with this book from Escoffier, some young chefs just look like that and say, oh, the journey will be complicated. This Step by Step, pas par pas, from Guillaume is one of the book that can facilitate the transmission of Escoffier to the modern world of cuisine and to learn a little bit more easier way to access. And for Indonesia, that would be a perfect relay and for the young chef between Escoffier and what you would like to achieve in the bridge within France and Indonesia.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chef Robert Fontana. It's fantastic to see this lively discussion starting. This is the point of the symposium today. And actually, we are going to start with what Mandif was saying in terms of bringing the structure of French cuisine into Indonesian cuisine and some of the topics that we have today. Perhaps we can start with the point of Indonesian spices, which is something Ibu Rizky mentioned that is very important to bring Indonesia out to the rest of the world, as well as the cuisine into France of Indonesia. Today, Indonesian cuisine and ingredients are not quite recognized as they should be overseas. What can be done to enhance Indonesian cuisine and ingredients? Maybe you can translate that.
Well, I think everybody's understood, but it's maybe some no, but they understand English. But what is more important is to find maybe an answer of that. What could be done to be the bridge between the spices in Indonesia and to bring it to not only to France, but to the European cuisine.
To the rest of the world. Chris, maybe you'd like to take that?
In English, if you may. So it's.
You sure in English?
No, in Bahasa? Okay. Oh, français. No, in Bahasa.
So what was the question?
Today, Indonesian cuisine and ingredients are not quite as recognized as they should be. What can be done, in your opinion, to bring Indonesian cuisine and ingredients overseas?
So, pertanyaannya, kenapa bumbu dari Indonesia belum terkenal di luar negeri? Tapi suara saya pasti cukup keras, ada apa-apa. Okay. So, itu benar. Ya, kalau saya mau masak, saya nggak bisa masak makanan Indonesia atau masakan Indonesia. Jadi saya cuma pakai bahan dan rasa dari bumbu dasar ya Indonesia, kayak keluak, kemangi, kecombrang, apa yang mau pakai. Oke, saya suka pakai itu. Dan kalau saya keluar negeri, sangat susah dapat bahannya. Right? Ada yang kering, tapi rasanya jauh beda. Ada yang beku, tidak sama, atau tidak ada sama sekali. Translate.
Okay, so the spices we have, I use within my kitchen are not necessarily just in their entirety, but I use them within the French cuisine, as well as some Indonesian dishes. We don't have the export of the ingredients yet to overseas in all countries, but it's starting to be recognized in some parts of the world.
But it's very difficult to get, is the issue. So when we're traveling, I translate. When we're traveling and we want to cook, I mean, I don't cook Indonesian food, but when I want to cook Indonesian flavors, I can't. Because the quality of the product, either the product is not available or the quality is not good. And therefore, it's a wrong representation of Indonesian flavors.
Maybe Ibu Rizky, you could take this answer. Is there a possibility of a solution or a forward motion to some of the issues that they're finding to exporting Indonesian products to the rest of the world?
Baik, terima kasih. Salah satu program yang akan kita lakukan, pemerintah lakukan adalah memang mempermudah atau mencoba bagaimana bumbu-bumbu Indonesia bisa mudah didapat di luar negeri.
Okay. One of the programs that we will be embarking on is how we can make it easier, memudahkan, or simplify the process to be able to get good quality Indonesian products overseas.
Kita memang menyadari bahwa susah untuk mendapatkan produk bumbu asli ataupun Indonesia di luar. Nah, saat ini pemerintah sedang melakukan kolaborasi Kementerian Pertanian, Kementerian Perdagangan, Airlines, Kementerian Perhubungan, bagaimana bumbu Indonesia bisa mudah dan lebih kompetitif harganya di luar negeri. Jadi ini one of our priority program in Indonesia, how to bring the spices from Indonesia to international market. So this is why we have Indonesia Spice Up the World program. First pillar is how to promote, to bring spices Indonesia to the world. Second, how to promote culinary Indonesia. Third is how to open more Indonesian restaurants abroad. And the fourth, to promote Indonesia as a destination for gastronomy. We really thanks that to all of you, that maybe you can give us an input. What kind of, because we know there is some regulation in AU or in US that some of the ingredient cannot bring to that countries because some regulation. This is also the one that we want to discuss and to that the EU or US or other countries, and then how to make this more easy to bring Indonesian spices to that countries.
Terima kasih, Bu Rizky. Just to translate part of what she said about the Indonesian government working with the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Trade, as well as other ministries to bring this good quality of Indonesian spices to the rest of the world, not just EU, but also other parts of the world culinary scene.
So, terima kasih banyak Ibu. Ada banyak yang masukan yang saya bisa kasih, tapi menurut saya mungkin tidak di sini, tidak hari ini, right? Kita harus ketemu karena ya itu yang sangat susah dan kita harus pikirkan karena kalau bahan Indonesia tidak ada di luar negeri, bagaimana kita bisa masak makanan Indonesia di luar negeri yang enak, yang benar-benar rasa dari Indonesia. Kedua, bahannya mahal. Mau beli serai di luar negeri 20.000 satu tangkai, right? Gimana itu bikin sambal mata mahal sekali, nggak bisa, right? Lagi serainya nggak enak, nah, cuma rasa kayu batang aja, right? Kalau di Bali serainya di luar biasa, right?
Let me stop you right there. So, do you want to translate that? Basically, what Chris was saying is it is so expensive to get really good Indonesian spices such as lemongrass and other quality products overseas, something like 20,000 for one stock, which of course is not within the pricing for some of the recipes. We would like to continue this discussion in depth with members of the government as well as of our association, but perhaps we can do that at another time because this merits a deeper conversation about this particular topic. While we're on this topic, Chef Wayan, you said something very interesting on a Zoom call the other day about this topic between the different spices you could get in Australia and the spices you could get in America. What was it you said?
So basically, I'm cooking the Indonesian food in the US and Australia. So it's easier cooking Balinese or Indonesian food in Australia than US. So I done it a couple of weeks ago. So I went to Australia. So I'm doing a pop-up event, and then I'm just empty-handed from here. And then when I get there, I just cruising around, and I get the ingredient. I make the betutu that tastes exactly like the way I make betutu here. In the US, it's a bit challenge. So I have to searching the ingredient from every different state, like from California. I can get it in New York, and Texas have it. So it's kind of like a bit difficult. Even though if I getting that kind of ingredient, it's like Chris said, like dry or frozen. And then talking about lemongrass, yeah, it's just woody. It's not taste like lemongrass here.
So it changes the recipe, ya. Jadi lebih mudah kayaknya kita mendapati bumbu-bumbu Indonesia di Australia daripada di Amerika Serikat untuk sementara.
Yes, so every time I have to adjust the recipe. So again, like Chef Mandi said, so we have to know the base bumbu, basically, to make a good Indonesian or Balinese food. If we don't know the base, it's gonna be a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Baik, terima kasih. So we will learn a little bit from maybe your experiences in Australia on how to apply that to other parts of the world and find products there. Chef Shield?
Yes, and I just want to add, I think for Indonesia to be able to export the spices more easily, we need to apply a little bit what we just talked about, the kitchen as well. Pardon, en français. So, et donc la discipline quand il récolte les épices, la discipline des origines, ne pas tout mélanger. Je crois qu'il faut aussi que ça se fasse dans le domaine des épices.
What is very important as well is that he mentioned that the discipline that we have in the kitchen can be applied to the farmers, because it's very important not to mix all the spices when you export, to have a process, to have a quality of origin is very important. And if I may, because this is my field in Asia, to import the communication of what the chefs need. Why he got the product in Australia? Basically because it's an Asian region. Even they are very far, very complicated in USA, other part of the world. It would be exactly the same problem for Europe. So communication between the government's body, what you need, how to do it, what the farmers need to do. Since that has been applied in Europe, the terroir, what is everything that the government in Indonesia has to start to build a terroir, build a product of origin, that you get all the certificate and you can export. Yes. That is very important. And that Escoffier can definitely help on that in this process and to bring the knowledge that we have in Europe to build around. Yeah, to get the certification, just to get the right, what is needed to export. So this is the main problem.
Un, deux. Donc, moi, ce qui m'intéresserait de savoir, c'est en fait quand on parle de la Culinary Bridge et le partage des idées et du savoir.
So what is really, you would be very interested to know is when we talk about Culinary Bridge, what is the sharing of idea and knowledge, the know-how?
So, la première chose que je voudrais dire, c'est qu'en fait, Auguste Escoffier a été le premier ambassadeur de la cuisine française en Angleterre, celui qui a amené les asperges vertes du Val d'Ori, etc., etc.
So Auguste Escoffier was the first ambassador to bring the French culinary in UK or Great Britain at the time. He brought the first French product to England.
So, ma question, Guillaume Gomez, avant d'être nommé ambassadeur de la cuisine française, était quand même chef de l'Élysée, et donc il avait à gérer des dîners dans le monde où il arrivait en fait. C'était à la pêche au moule, parce qu'il n'amenait pas 3 tonnes de matériel pour faire à manger.
Oui, je l'ai. So, Guillaume, before to be the ambassador of the culinary on behalf of the government, was the chef of the Élysée house or the Élysée Palace, and he had to travel around the world, and what he had to do, what could I get to my basket to have the French cooking? So I could not translate because it was a very French word, but he had no clue how to get the right product, or if he had the clue, it was complicated. So that's where the Escoffier is very important.
Comment on devient chef?
Okay, but what is the question?
How you do to bring all that?
New York, Afrique. Moi, je pense que, et c'est pour ça que Auguste Escoffier a pu rayonner en Angleterre, et c'est pour ça que la gastronomie française peut aujourd'hui rayonner à travers le monde, c'est que la chance et la richesse de la gastronomie française, c'est bien sûr des produits extraordinaires, parce qu'on a la chance d'avoir un terroir varié et différent sur très peu, en fait, sur 1000 kilomètres du nord au sud et d'est en ouest, d'avoir un terroir si différent avec des produits si différents, dom-tom, avec nos dom-tom bien sûr compris.
What has made why Escoffier has been so successful in England is because French as a terroir. It's a very short country, small country, and it's 1,000 kilometers. When you get it's a garden. France is a garden, actually, the best product. So it was one of the reasons why the French culinary has been such a successful cuisine around the world. And if you have the product, you get the cuisine. There is nothing, you know, nothing.
Et la deuxième chose, ce qui fait la renommée aujourd'hui des chefs cuisiniers pâtissiers à travers le monde, c'est parce que la cuisine française, elle est dotée de cette technique très riche et qui fait que en fait cette cuisine, elle s'adapte partout où on est dans le monde avec des produits, des fois des produits que l'on ne connaît pas, mais en fonction de la texture, en fonction de l'aspect, en fonction du goût, grâce à la technique que possèdent les chefs de cuisine et les chefs pâtissiers français, ou les boulangers, ils arrivent toujours à s'adapter. Vous prenez un boulanger français, il arrive dans un pays, même si le blé n'est pas le même si l'eau n'est pas la même, et ainsi de suite, il va faire quelques essais, il va réussir à faire du très bon pain. Et ben, les cuisiniers, c'est exactement la même chose. Et mon rôle, lorsque je suivais le président à travers le monde, c'était celui-ci. C'était des fois, très souvent d'ailleurs, en amenant des produits français, mais lorsque l'on devait cuisiner, lorsque l'on doit échanger avec justement des cuisiniers des pays, c'est ce qui fait ces ponts, c'est que la cuisine française aujourd'hui, elle n'arrive pas en voulant imposer ses produits, en voulant imposer des techniques, mais en disant tout simplement ce qui a fonctionné pour nous, ça peut fonctionner pour vous, parce que notre expérience, elle doit servir à ça, elle doit servir à vous aider à faire le meilleur de votre gastronomie en fonction de votre terroir, en fonction de votre histoire et en fonction de vos envies.
So I will summarize, but it was exactly what is Escoffier. Why he has been successful to bring the culinary excellence abroad. It's one, the product, but also the techniques, the process, because you have to adapt. You arrive in a country, you cannot get all the products, so you check what is available. And because of this technique, of this background of culinary and training, you can adapt. If you go abroad, you see a lot of French chefs or trained French. You don't need to be French, but if you have this training of Escoffier or this training of French technique, you adapt. You arrive in a country, you get what you find, the water, the wheat, and you do bread. You adapt. So this is where Escoffier culinary training and the experience that can be brought, and this bridge just between Indonesia and France, but also other countries, to bring the technique, to bring the experience, and to see what can be done to help the countries in need to get these techniques and those products able to go everywhere, or on the other side, when the chef arrive here, how to cook properly with what they can get in the country.
C'est bon. Encore un peu ou j'en rajoute?
C'est bien. C'était ce que tu voulais dire à peu près? C'est bon, je suis bon.
Non, on voulait parler sur le chocolat. Juste un petit mot sur le chocolat.
Quick, around chocolate.
Vous avez, parce que c'est un exemple, la France ne produit pas de chocolat.
Yeah, France is not a producer of chocolate.
Mais on en consomme beaucoup.
But we are a lot of consumers, and big companies are from France.
Et les pays producteurs de chocolat, de cacao, les pays producteurs de cacao, puisque nous faisons du chocolat mais nous ne produisons pas de cacao, les produits producteurs de cacao veulent l'expertise française en fonction du bean to bar, du rendu par rapport au chocolat.
And the countries that are producing the cacao want the French expertise to be able to have what we call bean to bar, to have this experience and expertise to produce their own chocolates.
Et les appellations d'origine, les GI, lancées par les Nations Unies, sont une émanescence de ce qu'ont fait les Français avec les AOC par rapport à une spécificité du produit, par rapport à un terroir, par rapport à un territoire.
So the United Nations has started to spread what has been done in France with the IOP, what is appellation of origin, that is the terroir, the place where you bring. So that's why the United
GI.
Nations, has, the GI, has started abroad for example, in Thailand, we have the rices, that's in a GI, something that can be applied here for your spices, according to what we do in France already.
Et la leçon, c'est de se dire que justement, chaque terroir, chaque territoire, chaque pays a en sa possession des richesses et qu'il faut identifier ça, et ça, ce sont aux acteurs du pays d'identifier ça. Et vous, par exemple, vous avez des chocolats, d'ailleurs pas un chocolat, vous avez des chocolats, des cacaos complètement différents, et que la richesse du terroir indonésien, il est de travailler aujourd'hui, plutôt que de tout mettre dans le même sac en disant on a du chocolat en Indonésie, c'est dire non, le chocolat de Java, il n'a rien à voir avec celui de Bornéo, et peut-être que celui de Bornéo Nord n'a rien à voir avec celui de Bornéo Sud ou de Bornéo Plage. Donc en fonction de ça, non mais c'est important de définir les typicités d'un terroir, d'un territoire, parce que c'est une valeur ajoutée culturelle bien évidemment pour faire reconnaître un pays et pour faire reconnaître une destination, mais une vraie valeur ajoutée économique.
So that, for instance, for the chocolate, you have several chocolates from Java, from other region. The idea is to identify those regions and to define what is the terroir of this particular region, instead of putting all in one bag, say, oh, we have chocolate in Indonesian chocolate to spread the world. You identify and you build your GI, and it will be an added value for the country, for the farmers, for the producers, to get this identification and to have this particular product from this particular region. Exactly. So you would work for the chocolate, but you can work for the spices, for whatever is originated in Indonesia, to build this region, this terroir, with the technique, with the process, with all the definition to it. And that will be the added value when you spread the world with Indonesian cuisine.
And if I may, si je peux ajouter, quand on veut promouvoir un pays, un produit ou n'importe quel produit, on commence toujours par le meilleur. Parce que c'est ça que les gens ils vont prendre comme référence. Et c'est vrai pour les aliments, c'est vrai pour les voitures, c'est vrai pour tous les produits. Donc c'est ça qu'il faut qu'on mette en place d'abord. Savoir produire le meilleur et la consistance. C'est ce qui est le plus important.
When you want to promote a country, you have to promote the best, always. So consistency, best product. So what want the people is to have the best from your country. They don't want to have the mass market. You build the best, and then everything will follow up. So, and this is the way to promote and to, as we said, this is the added value of your country. Get the best, help the people to harvest the best, help them to process to get the best. And it's when you build Indonesian culinary scene around the world.
Hello. Yeah. I don't know what to speak anymore. I'm so lost. Ça fait longtemps que j'ai pas parlé français, disons. Non. Bahasa. Maaf, karena pertanyaan pertama, bagaimana cara membawa bumbu or spice dari Indonesia ke luar negeri, ya. So kita kembali ke pertanyaan dasar, ya.
Quickly, so the first question is, how do we bring Indonesian spices to the rest of the world?
Yeah. So pasti ada banyak cara, kita sudah bicara banyak. Tapi kelebihan dari disiplin Escoffier yang saya bisa lihat adalah kita bisa membawa bumbu dari Indonesia, spice dari Indonesia, dari sisi fine dining, dari sisi chef yang terkenal. Karena sampai sekarang kita selalu bilang, oh bagaimana kita bisa distribusi atau lewat mass production atau dibekuin atau di ABC atau di paket, di sachet. Itu satu cara. Tapi bagaimana dengan fine dining, ya, melewati chef seperti chef ada di sini hari ini, yang bisa mewakili rasa atau bumbu dari Indonesia di seluruh dunia, ya.
So quickly, the answer to how, my suggestion is that we do it. One of the suggestions is to bring it through the world of fine dining, especially through ambassadors or representatives such as we have here to bring Indonesian spices and taste to the rest of the world.
I need to say it in English. But, you know, there are many ways to promote product. And what I've been doing for 25 years is I've been carrying kluwak and daun korokling and basagede in my suitcase. And I go to places and I cook fine dining, foie gras, caviar, with those flavors. And everywhere I go, people are like, wow, this is amazing. So one way of promoting is through fine dining, disciple Escoffier, those type of associations. It's only one. There are many ways.
It would be good if there was a channel that you didn't have to always bring it through your suitcases, yes?
I've risked that many times.
There's some issues at customs, maybe.
But I've learned a lot of skills in negotiating by living in Indonesia. Every time I pass the customs, I learned.
Some very good skills.
I show the photo of me and Farah Queen. I'm like, can I go through? And they're like, oh yeah, Farah, you can go through.
Farah Quinn is a good ambassador. She might be a little prettier.
She's helped me many times.
She might be a little prettier.
Just a little bit.
Okay. Robert would like to say something else.
I think I have one question and one vision about how to import the Indonesian product. L'une des idées aussi à travailler, c'est en fait l'intégration du produit en tant que tel indonésien hors de la cuisine indonésienne. D'accord ? Je m'explique. Ce que j'ai expliqué l'autre jour, on a eu un talk il y a quelques jours, et j'ai dit que par exemple, le wasabi en France, ben, les frères marchands ont fait du fromage avec du wasabi dedans. Donc je veux dire que importer un produit et le destiner à la cuisine indonésienne ne sera pas une solution.
So just one of the idea, and I do agree, being in Asia since a long time, is not to promote as Indonesian product for Indonesian cuisine. It's an Indonesian product for cuisine. So as for instance, he said wasabi in France has been used in several ways. Some of our friends, a cheesemaker and cheese affineur, Marchand in Nancy, is doing cheeses with wasabi. So to use the product for cooking, not for one, because it will be very reducted. It's one of the mistakes that very often we do, being an import product. People say, oh, this is for this kind of restaurant. No, this is for restaurant. So spices, Indonesian spices, are for the world of culinary.
Parce qu'en fait, si jamais on sectorise le produit indonésien pour de la cuisine indonésienne, ben le marché va être minuscule.
If we put it just for Indonesian restaurants, you don't have that many Indonesian restaurants in the world, so it will be reduced. So it's an Indonesian product.
Ce qui pourrait être intéressant quand on parle avec la délégation Escoffier et les disciples d'Escoffier en France, c'est d'avoir des échanges de culture et de dire tiens qu'est-ce que tu feras avec ce produit, tu vois.
Yeah. What we could do with Escoffier in France, but actually all around the world with all the members, what would you do with to bring the product? What would you do with that? So it's exactly you test, you try. What can I do with that? It's Indonesian spices or product. Where I can put that in my own flavor or culinary, and not just thinking Indonesian product for Indonesian places.
Ça rejoint l'idée de ce que disait Guillaume, qu'en fait, que quand on arrive dans un pays, on s'adapte aux produits qu'il y a sur le pays, on ne peut pas tout amener.
Yeah.
Et ça rejoint aussi l'idée de la cuisine que fait Chris Salance, même si c'est la cuisine française, c'est la cuisine française avec une touche indonésienne.
That is what we say a little bit before, Guillaume and Chris. It's just to adapt. You know, we do French cuisine, but we use what we have in this country. On the other side, if you send your product, they will cook maybe Indonesian flavor, but in a French way, in Italian way, or whatever. But the product itself is the representation of your country. And what can we do with that? Not just to reduce to just a channel that would be so tiny for the moment, because you don't have. It's the number 4 in your plan to have Indonesian restaurant in the world. Number 4. We need to have 1, 2, 3 before. So to send those products before to get those Indonesian restaurants, spreading all around the world.
May I? Oh, not in English. Menurut saya kita harus tanya chef dari Indonesia yang di sebelah kiri saya, bagaimana mereka merasa bisa bawa makanan Indonesia ke luar negeri. Karena kita selalu bicara bumbu, tapi pasti pemerintah Indonesia juga ingin makanannya punya reputasi di luar negeri. Jadi saya ingin tanya, Chef Mandif dia punya banyak restoran, sering mengembang, very creative dia. Bagaimana dia merasa, bukan merasa, but apa visi dia untuk membawa, jika dia suruh besok membawa konsep Indonesia di luar negeri, apa dia akan lakukan? Karena menurut saya itu yang juga penting ya.
Okay, we should just quickly translate that before we go ahead.
This is very interesting.
You can go ahead and do that, Mandiv.
Okay.
In your opinion.
Okay. This is very interesting. I've been telling this one in the Zoom meeting with the ministry sama kementerian waktu dan lainnya. Jadi you can't cook soto ayam, promote soto ayam. You cannot promote soto ayam yang ada di Indonesia direct to France. You cannot make anything like very, very traditional and put in the Sheraton hotel and cook. You need so much understanding about the flavor. Not everybody can adapt that. I mean, let's say rendang. Rendang is number 1 dish in Indonesia. But when you cook in the 5-star hotel in France, not everybody can appreciate that. I'm telling the truth. Because it's a good meat, and you cook for such a long time with so much flavor, and you lose the flavor of the meat. Yeah, this is true. So, in my opinion, in just one opinion or just one way to do that, actually, promote them Indonesians in modern ways. Like I do with Blanco Permandiv. This is only one way. You can do traditional as well. In the week of, you can do 2 weeks. First week the modern way, and then second week in the traditional way. It's just an event. That's what I do in Blanco Permandiv. I open restaurant Blanco. It's Indonesian-based flavor in sense of French approach. In sense of French approach, I believe that it's more easy to understand. So that's the one way to do that. If a government give me money now, okay, 1 million euro to open Indonesian restaurant in Paris, I will not open. It takes too much risk for me. To create the market there, yes, Bali restaurant is also good. I'm not saying that they're not making money, but not much people, not much market available to eat really Indonesians traditional food there. It's different with Amsterdam. So what I will do is as a new concept of Indonesian cuisines, which is most related with the local flavor. This is what I will do if you give me money, 2 million euro to open in France.
I was just going to say a joke. I said, if the government gives me €1 million, I'll open a restaurant in Paris.
Yes.
For 500,000 euros. And I'll get an apartment for 500,000.
And if I just may add, of course, it's important to let the fine dining chef express them. S'exprimer les chefs de restaurants gastronomiques, de les laisser s'exprimer. C'est très important. Et parce que c'est eux qui font la mode. Et donc,
it's very important to let the chef, local chef, to express themselves because they are the ones who are doing the trend. They are the ones who are developing the product and the evolution of the local cuisine.
And helping ils vont aider à comprendre le produit.
And also to understand the product.
Mais je crois aussi qu'il y a de la place pour des plats traditionnels comme on a fait goûter à Guillaume.
There is also a space for traditional cuisine that Guillaume had the pleasure to test.
Et nous, en tant qu'Escoffier et Français aussi, on peut aider à définir les plats qui sont acceptables pour le palais français et qui représentent la cuisine traditionnelle.
So an Escoffier can help to select what could be a representation of Indonesian cuisine that French palate can accept and enjoy.
So we can have a true French cuisine and French, Indonesian cuisine and Indonesian experience for a culinary week or a culinary couple of days.
That was pretty good English, so I don't need to translate. If I may add something, what is also important, never forget the retail. Because people, when they go to a restaurant, they eat the product. They say, where can I find it? That's where we go back to what we said before, the selection of the product, the way to process, the way to package it. We don't sell kilos of things in a gourmet retail. But if you can find in a gourmet retail in Paris, Indonesian spices, when people have the chance to test in a restaurant, they talk to the chef, say, yeah, where and how can I do that? And you need to find those spices because it's the way to spread. And on the other way, you get the spices first and then you discover the restaurant. So the bridge is not only for restaurant actors, but also for the whole chain, the route to market between the farm to the consumers. Because at the end of the day, this is the consumers that makes the business.
Yeah, but before we get to the retail, we have to create the demand.
Sure. But we say you get the demand, but you have the retail following. So it's a whole route to market and it's a whole synergy between everybody.
Hi, my name is Philip John Golding. I'm from London, but through Robert, I was able to establish Escoffier in the Philippines. And I've been in Bali a few times now. I love Bali, really interested in spices. Of course, our new Prime Minister is Indian. Yeah, we have a big history of Indian spice trade. But going back to the 4 key ingredients, I was very fortunate. I was very lucky to work under amazing French chefs, yeah, in England and in France. But 27 years in the Philippines now, tuna, mango, salt, 600 hectares of salt. So produce, farmers, terroir, soil, we are very strong. Chocolate from one of our Escoffier candidates, many years ago, young girl, is now speaking in the UN, yeah, Luis Mabolo. She is on Netflix. She's a cacao project, farming chocolate. She won Best Dessert, trained under some great people in the Escoffier competition. She was 16 years of age. Robert knows, Terry. Through the young chefs, through the transfer of the knowledge, Escoffier, yeah? The produce, you start with the product and the refinement with French cuisine as a creme brulee with pandan, with the special muscovado sugar. It starts with the product along with the knowledge, the skill. The discipline is very important, but having fun while you do it and sharing the knowledge and the culture. You were talking about Australia and America. I was fortunate to go to the Philippines as an ambassador. Born in Britain, Escoffier, carrying the Escoffier vision, mission, and passion, which is very important, to Mexico. try to bring Mexico cuisine anywhere in the world. You don't have the lime. You don't have the spices and the chili. It's very difficult to try Mexican food outside of Mexico. But there's still ambassador for the chili, for the sauces. So you said it right, through the supermarket, through the retail, through the ambassador, through Netflix, Instagram, WeChat, WhatsApp. You have so much today that when we grew up, we never had, not even the cell phone. So today, I think Indonesia, and coming back and seeing your tourism, and seeing, 4 years ago, I had my 50th birthday here. I was very privileged. And looking at the explosion of the restaurants and the tourism in this country is, wow, Robert showed me around. It's incredible. You have a great opportunity with your young chefs, with the help of Escoffier International Asia, and the big chefs coming in from France. You have a great time to put Indonesian cuisine on the map if it's done well and balanced with the flavor profiles that are suitable to the world. We have to adjust. Yeah? Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chef Philippe. Terima kasih, Suksoma. I think we will continue then with the next topic. That was a very lively discussion. Sangat seru. Very, very exciting. So I think one thing that we wanted to discuss was a standard recipe for some of the Indonesian cuisine that's become well known around the world. As I understand it, Ibu Rizky, there were 5 recipes from Indonesia that were nominated to represent all of Indonesian cuisine. If I'm not mistaken, it's soto ayam, rendang, nasi goreng, sate ayam, dan satu lagi, gado-gado. So we have 5 national dishes that need to travel overseas. Maybe either Chris or one of the other Indonesian chefs could answer. The question is, with the different regions across Indonesia, with our 14,443 islands or something like that, how is it that we can make a national dish with the same flavor palette or a similar standard flavor palette to bring it to the rest of the world? Silakan, mungkin Chef Wayan atau Chef Mandiv.
Thank you. From my side, so to standardize the Indonesian cuisine and bring it to the world is we have to reduce the spiciousness without taking out the main spice. So because they're all, well, not all the Indonesian dishes is spicy. Several of them is not spicy. And then for me, I think so we can bring Indonesian cuisine to the world without thinking about the spice. For example, gohu, go tuna. So go tuna is a ceviche, Indonesian style ceviche. So that one we can bring anywhere in the world. What is that? Yeah. So,
Please go ahead, Robert. Please speak in the microphone so we can hear you.
Moi, je vais faire en français. Je pense qu'il y a du pour et du contre, en fait, dans la décision de faire une cuisine indonésienne qui soit édulcorée parce que ça doit plaire à tout le monde. On ne peut pas plaire à tout le monde.
There is yes and no to have something that is not basic, but that could please everybody. There is always a good point and a bad point because we can't please everybody.
Par exemple, donc la France est connue pour ses fromages, mais vous n'allez pas changer le goût du camembert ou du comté. C'est du camembert ou du comté. Si tu n'aimes pas le fromage, n'en mange pas.
For instance, France is known for the cheeses, but not everybody can. He said camembert, comté, or blue, or whatever. Not everybody can eat that, and it's if you don't like it, you don't eat it. You can't change. You can't change this product. It will always be the same.
Ensuite, quand on parle, pour répondre à votre question, madame, quand on parle de la standardisation de la cuisine ou de technique de travail, en fait, il faut déterminer les modes de communication. Par exemple, quand vous allez dans des restaurants thaï, donc il y a toujours la manière d'expliquer par 1 piment, 2 piments ou 3 piments et on comprend que c'est très spicy ou pas.
So the way one of the way to standardize or to explain exactly, and he did as an example for Thai restaurants. You go to a Thai restaurant, you have near the menu or near the dish 1 spice, 2 spices, 3 spices that will explain the degree of hotness. So it's on the way. And this was an answer to a previous question: how to standardize or to make it easy for people to understand what they will get.
La question est double en fait, parce qu'il y a deux questions, c'est-à-dire que d'adapter la cuisine indonésienne en fonction des goûts, et etc., je ne pense pas que ce soit une bonne solution. Maintenant, pour répondre à la deuxième question que vous m'avez posée, en fait, comment faire pour arriver à standardiser une recette?
So the first, on the two questions, the first one was, it doesn't seem that to standardize is a good, is the answer of what should be done. And the second was the question was how to standardize, how to do it. So it's two. One is first thought, it doesn't think that it's a good idea. It should not, might not be done this way. But if it has to be done, how to do it, how to standardize, how to process it.
Ouais, et là, en fait, on rentre dans l'avantage du travail qu'a fait Escoffier, c'est-à-dire la standardisation d'une recette et des différentes étapes qui vont être faites sur la recette. Donc, ce qu'on appelle en anglais, c'est Standard Operation Procedure, le SOP. Il faut que quand on fait une recette et qu'on veut, parce que, je vais essayer d'expliquer clairement, c'est-à-dire qu'entre le moment de la recette originelle que vous allez créer et le moment où elle va être diffusée sur toute l'Indonésie, il y aura une perdition de la recette. C'est obligé.
So just to, it's when we go back to Escoffier, when it's on the process, what he was doing, it was to standardize recipes, French recipes. So, but the problem is that when you start the recipe and to have the SOP, Standard Operation Procedure, here in Bali, and you arrive in Jakarta, you will have, some differences. Yeah, it's exactly like when somebody talk on your back, give you a sentence, the sentence at the end of the line is totally different. That would be the same way for the recipe.
Ça, c'est le véritable challenge, en fait.
This is the challenge.
To arriver à faire une recette, qu'elle soit avec une réussite à 70 ou 80% de l'originel.
To be successful at 70 to 80% from the original recipe. That is the real challenge. That when you spread it, it doesn't, change every step along the way.
In Philippines we have a dish called adobo. Yeah? Is it Filipino? Is it Spanish? The vinegar, soy sauce, laurel, peppercorn. We've been through this same discussion in Philippines over the last year because it's the same happening in food tourism. So first of all, the question is, where is the region for that dish? You have to respect the region where it's coming from, the satay or wherever the dish. I need to understand more. But we found out that some chefs are arguing because it's not the right recipe. This is not, so standardization became a kind of taboo word. So it's the regional, what's the history, go back to the history, the heritage of the dish. Where did the dish come from? Why? What ingredients? Yeah, we have a satay in Philippines called kare kare, and it's brought by the Malaysians because we only found peanut and chili. So kare kare, K-A-R-E, is actually curry. But we don't have curry spices, so we have to do it. So it's interesting as you are neighbors, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, I worked in Vietnam, is to share not only the philosophy of Escoffier from France, because when I was working in the French kitchen, the mango, it was so exotic. Sometimes you don't want to standardize the ingredient because it's precious. Saffron, I had to bring the truffle for you guys from Philippines, which is summer Italian. There are those challenges, but I think with what's something we learn, heritage, with the history of your dish, the process. We learned the process in Philippines with, smashing the rice to make it the puto, the proper. I saw your puto here with coconut and pandan.
Yes.
We saw already, that's where Donna is eating the pandan, is to share the process. How was it made, the malaket, the rice properly? And that's the story of your food, I think. And that's what I would love to learn from you guys.
It's very interesting, actually.
Go ahead, Mandeep.
It has been discussion about this national list for maybe a decade, because every region they come up with their different foods, and they want to be a part of the national dishes. Actually, standardized by the government. We keep changing this national list anyway. This is the problem start. Because we have so many provinces in Indonesia, what I think, every region has to come up with their dishes. It doesn't have to be standardized. Okay, we only do have 5. And then what they choose actually, something's very ordinary. And we have provinces with extraordinary dishes. In Sulawesi, we get the joe of bluefin tuna and grill over the smoke and put spices. That's one of the amazing dishes. And we have grilled prawn with binte bilahuta from Gorontalo. It's actually a beautiful dish, a vibrant, a very dynamic. So what, in my opinions, with this heritage, with this culture, with this story, the part of the government just to promote everything unique from its country. They don't have to standardize. What they have, so I will say maybe the government has one platform to all the Indonesians have to post any food related with our cultures, what's unique within the dish. It's Instagram, wonderful flavor Indonesia. It's so continuously posting, consistently post the dish, promote them through the social platform. It's also the easiest way to do, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mandev. That's
I agree with Mandev actually. You know, it's very, during the 2014, when Ibu Mari Elka Pangestu as our minister, we have 30 culinary dishes from Indonesia. We selected from Aceh to Papua, which one that can we promote. And then 15 or 16, we pushed to choose 5. What do you call it, culinary. And then I'm personally not agree on that, but I cannot say that. Yeah, please don't say that outside there. Because that's what, it's like we push our culinary to international others to like that. But maybe we can, you know, I agree with the approach that we just say that we have from fish, from chicken, we start from that the what do you call it, the ingredient, the farm, and then we and then you can choose. You like fish, you choose fish, but with the recipe of Indonesian, maybe gulai. There's a gulai. There is a from North Sulawesi. That's very delicious, in from North Sulawesi or from Java. So that's I don't know. That's my opinion, because I understand that you mentioned that maybe we start from the palate, because our you know Papa Tantowi Haya, our former ambassador to New Zealand. She also he told me that he cannot introduce rendang to New Zealand people because it's not the food that they taste from their, you know, I mean the original food. So when he introduced ketela, cassava, and then process the cassava become the food, and then the New Zealanders said this is good, and they want to know, and they will try again. They want to buy. It's not only yes, it's good food, but after that they don't want to try again. So he mentioned to me that you start from the palate of the nationality, you know, like in French, what French like to eat. So I'm really want to discuss that more with you, because now we still promote that 5 culinary, but actually I'm not really, I said maybe we need to change, because we know there is a modern Indonesian food, the same ingredient, but it's different ways to present it. Yeah.
I think that's where we come back to the origin of the product.
Yeah.
Get the right product, and then the recipe comes next. Get the product to the country. Get the chef to use it. and to adapt.
Yeah, I'm not the chef. I'm the food lover, so I will try every food.
I think other than the product, which is also very important, I think one maybe weakness, I can't say from the government because then I'll be in trouble, but one weakness maybe is in the choice of the chefs that you collaborate with. Stop collaborating with dinosaurs and start collaborating with young people.
And
Sorry, yeah?
Minister, if you don't mind saying, when you talk about gulai, that's vegetable, yeah?
no, not
It's a dish.
curry.
Okay, because, curry. So, and the same rendang I've tried all over the world, but I'm looking forward to trying your rendang, right? But where your fish is, where your vegetables, where your meat is, does that also have relevance on the history of the food, the dish? Yes?
Of course.
So that's where I think we're all similar in Southeast Asia. It starts like France, right? The mimosa. I tried the other day the mimosa flower. And I lived in England and I studied in France, but only the other day the Italians are making a mimosa liqueur, which we use for a panna cotta, right? It blew my mind. And I just judged in London recently the Indian Food Awards online, right? So the world is great today. And when I grew up, it was raspberry, strawberry, fresh du bois. It was really French, strong produce, passion, farmers, the power, the leek, everything. They're the most passionate in terms of my education, and they stick to it, and and they don't bend like a tree. They're like a bamboo. They're like a bamboo. They're very, very strong. And I was very fortunate to judge the competition 20 years later online. Star anise, lemongrass. I tried your lemongrass ginger. You know, so those are the things from your region, from your province, your turmeric, whatever it is, and your history. It's important to protect your heirloom history. So again, I'm looking forward to enjoying your food in Bali.
And if I may add, because we have in Indonesia we have now a very ambitious. On a pardon. Vous êtes très ambitieux pour vous exporter la culture et les produits indonésiens.
There is ambition from the government to export and to spread the Indonesian product.
But for that, we need also to support. Et pour ça, on a aussi besoin de supporter les écoles de cuisine, l'éducation.
We need to support education, catering, culinary school, very important, from the roots.
Parce que c'est eux qui vont promouvoir ces produits, c'est eux qui vont les travailler.
Because they are the one they will spread and they will work. This generation start from the culinary school because time your plan is on in the world, there will be the student that will become the chef and spread what you have planned.
Et c'est là aussi qu'il faut remettre des chefs de ce calibre dans les écoles pour leur apprendre les nouvelles techniques. Et la façon de travailler les nouvelles techniques, mais aussi les techniques traditionnelles qui sont très rarement enseignées dans les écoles indonésiennes.
And it's when you need this kind of chef, this caliber of experience to teach them what is new technique, but also the history. You know, if you don't know history, you cannot plan the future. And it works in everything. So if you know how to cook the normal, then you can play or develop. Need your base and then you can work.
Parce que ce qu'on voit encore trop souvent ici, que c'est dans les écoles de cuisine indonésienne ou les écoles de tourisme indonésienne, ils apprennent à faire la cuisine française, italienne, je ne sais pas d'où, mais très rarement la bonne cuisine et les recettes traditionnelles indonésiennes.
What happened is the culinary school that they are learning French, Italian, Spanish, whatever cuisine, but they are not taught on their own culinary expertise and cuisine. So the technique is good from all over the world, but also learn your own history of cuisine.
Et il y a eu quelques initiatives locales, et spécialement avec l'association ACP, l'association de chefs indonésiens, qui a produit un très bon livre sur les bases de la cuisine indonésienne et que l'association distribue gratuitement aux écoles maintenant.
So there is a SCP,
ACP.
Indonesian Chef Association that has developed a book that is now given free to the school, and those books are about the basic and the history of the Indonesian cuisine.
And then the next step is basically to reteach the teachers, because the teacher in Indonesian tourism and cooking schools
need to work on who is teaching, and maybe to upgrade the culinary expertise of the teachers in the culinary school.
And pardon. Et c'est comme ça qu'on construira un futur.
Clic.
Et c'est comme ça qu'on construira un futur brillant pour toute la cuisine indonésienne.
So it's how we built a bright future for the Indonesian cuisine. That's just, basic techniques, process, and helping the students who are the future of your culinary world.
Yeah, actually, we under the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, we have 6 schools. One's in Bali, Bandung, Lombok, Palembang, Medan, and Makassar. And then when I was a deputy for human resource, I like 9 months I become the deputy of human resource. I working with the 6 schools, and then actually I asked them what the because when I come to that school, they offer me the food, but it's not Indonesian food. I know in Bali now they develop the Balinese food, yeah. This is the guy from Polytechnic Bali, and then but others they mostly don't have the Indonesian. I don't know in Bandung you have that. Pak Mandif dari STP Bandung kan?
Bandung.
And
let's say 90% of the curriculum is French, and 10% Indonesian. No, sorry, 10% Indonesian.
So that's when I was the deputy, I told the head of the schools to explore more Indonesian food, and then yes, with using our ingredient, but with the history and also but maybe the techniques you can mix with the modern preparation, the Indonesian food. So I think this is also one very important that I'm invite the director for the school, for all 6 schools to come here, but he cannot come, he join us, but I will told him again that it's really important for us if we want to promote Indonesian food, that the student need to be teach Indonesian culinary. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Ibu Rizky. Thank you very much for that comment. We actually have Pak Wayan Tui here this afternoon from the Polytechnic Pariwisata Bali. So mungkin Pak Wayan juga bisa disampaikan tentang pemasak atau yang lain. Ada komentar tentang itu, tentang pelajari pemasak yang baru di Bali?
Terima kasih. Terima kasih atas waktunya. Kami mewakili daripada Poltek Par Bali terkait dengan makanan Indonesia. Kami di kurikulum kita ada itu sekitar 10-20% ya. Kita dalam kurikulum kita mengelola makanan-makanan Indonesia. Nah di sini kami bagi Indonesia ini menjadi 3. Yaitu ada makanan Indonesia yang mengarah ke timur, ke tengah, dan ke barat. Nah lebih dalamnya ini kita berikan kepada mahasiswa kami yang semester 5. Itu ada namanya aplikasi manajemen, mereka akan membuat meng-create. Seperti dikatakan tadi, bagaimana makanan Indonesia itu bisa yang otentik dan modern way. Nah ini kami selalu selipkan kepada mereka. Begitu.
Baik.
Nah sehingga bagaimanapun juga makanan-makanan seperti dikatakan tadi, sulitnya bahan dan pengolahan dan sebagainya, harapan kami ke depannya dengan memberikan kreativitas anak-anak pada semester 5, di dalam aplikasi manajemen Tata Boga, khususnya makanan Nusantara, ini bisa diterima di mata internasional. Begitu. Itu harapan kami ke depan. Itu dengan 10-20% masuk di kurikulum kita adalah menu prakteknya adalah makanan Indonesia. Saya rasa itu.
Baik, saya akan sampaikan Pak dalam bahasa Inggris.
Silakan.
Terima kasih. So we are from the Polytechnic schools and tourism schools trying indeed to integrate at least 10 to 20% of all Indonesian dishes from Nusantara, all the way from the west to the east, to make sure that our students, our young chefs, are learning the history and the culture of Indonesian cooking in order to be ambassadors to bring it overseas. This is, in fact, a commitment to our curriculum in all our schools at the moment, and we are pushing that this will increase even more in the coming years. So thank you for letting me give that comment. All right, we have a couple more things to say, but we actually have one panelist that's missing at the moment, but he's coming into our realm here today via Zoom from Dubai in possibly 5 or 10 minutes. But before we do that, we would like to open the floor to some quick questions and answers from the public. We see a lot of our media friends here. We see a lot of our chef friends here. Of course, our training friends. So we will, if you have a couple of questions, we don't mind to open the floor to the panel, especially to our honored guest, Guillaume Gomez, who we have the opportunity today of having here. Silakan, kita akan membuka sekarang untuk tanya jawab sebentar sambil kita nunggu untuk Bapak Vindex dari Dubai melalui Zoom. Monggo kalau ada yang mau tanya, silakan. Anybody have a question for our lovely panel?
Nope.
Everybody's very shy today.
Yeah. But we have covered quite a good field. We have one here.
Of course, from Dine and Wine Bali, Bapak Ian, terima kasih.
Thank you. Ian from Dine and Wine Bali. I'm going to speak in English. It's okay, Mr. Gomez? Okay. Actually, no, yeah, it's okay. The question is for you. I guess this is one of your first time in Indonesia, right? And before you came to Indonesia, did you ever experience any Indonesian spices in France or anywhere else in the world?
Oui, comme je l'ai expliqué rapidement tout à l'heure, on a la Maison de l'Indonésie en France qui est vraiment très active pour faire la promotion de l'Indonésie et de la culture gastronomique indonésienne.
So he had the opportunity to test already Indonesian spice because there is the House of Indonesia in France, in Paris. It's very active to promote the local products.
Et nous organisons maintenant depuis plusieurs années en France une rencontre internationale où toutes les ambassades étrangères à Paris peuvent faire goûter leur cuisine. Et on a près de, alors pas toutes, parce qu'on a près de 45 pays qui participent.
So when we organize since a few years in France, when we ask the embassies to organize
un village, c'est un village.
A village to show and to show their products.
Et 45 pays donc font la promotion de leur culture, de leur gastronomie. Et c'est vrai que l'Indonésie, l'ambassade d'Indonésie en France participe avec notamment la Maison de l'Indonésie. Et donc c'est très très actif depuis maintenant plusieurs années.
So among these 45 countries, the Maison of Indonesia, the House of Indonesia, and the embassy has been extremely active in France, in Paris, since already a few years.
Oui. Et sur les rencontres internationales, on a la chance que beaucoup de rencontres internationales de compétition, que ce soit la Coupe du Monde de pâtisserie, que ce soit les World Chocolate Masters, que ce soit le Bocuse d'Or, beaucoup de compétitions se passent en France. Et donc on rencontre les chefs, les chefs indonésiens ou les délégations de chefs français vivant en Indonésie. Donc on échange depuis de nombreuses années. Mais c'est ma première fois en Indonésie, ma première fois à Bali.
So that's the first time in Bali, but very lucky to have a lot of competition that are set up in France, World Pastry or Bocuse d'Or, etc., etc. And it's the opportunity to get to know the Indonesian chefs who are visiting or participating to those competitions. And it's just last but not least, but first time in Bali, but certainly not the last time. Merci.
Ya, saya akan pertanyaan dalam bahasa Indonesia. Mungkin sebentar, sebetulnya ada dua dikit. Chef Chris, satu terima kasih banyak, dan Chef Mandif sebetulnya tahun lalu ya untuk membawa Indonesia Team ke Prancis untuk Bocuse.
Bocuse d'Or,
ya. Itu satu, terima kasih banyak untuk mewakili dan bantu.
Saya cuma ikut
Ya.
Chef Mandif yang
Chef Mandif juga sama Chef Gilles. Kalau kita bicara spices, dan itu salah satu program sangat-sangat penting, terima kasih itu pada menterinya mau membawa Indonesia melalui spices. Menurut Chef Chris, spices aja mungkin yang mana ada potensi untuk bisa diadaptasi di European cuisine.
Okay, quickly in English, Chef Chris Alans, which chefs do you think have the potential to be adapted?
Spice.
Spice.
Bumbu. Spice.
Oh, you guys and all
Yeah.
Too many chefs here.
Too many
Bumbu.
chefs in the kitchen
Bumbu.
here.
Tadi kita karena bicaranya itu makanan, sekarang spice.
Spicesnya, bumbu apa kira-kira?
Yang ada potensi. Ke Chef Chris Alans. Terima kasih.
I don't know what language to answer in. La question est, de tous les épices indonésiens, quels sont ceux, d'après moi, pourraient le mieux voyager?
So the question was, out of all the spices, Indonesian spices, which one would be the best to travel or to spread around the world?
Right?
And has potential to be adapted in any other cuisine. Yes.
And now I'm confused what language to answer in. Français, ok.
Bahasa Indonesia,
Chef
please,
Guillaume,
for the
c'est
Indonesian
français.
press.
Non, le boss a dit français, donc c'est français. Donc, tous les épices peuvent voyager. Tous.
All the spices can travel.
Parce que regarde, ce que je fais à Mosaïque, c'est de la cuisine du marché. Tous mes plats, il y a un épice. Et ça fait 25 ans que je travaille les épices indonésiens. Il n'y en a pas un que je n'ai pas travaillé. Même le terrassi, je m'en sers. La pâte de crevettes fermentée, même ça, j'arrive à m'en servir dans ma bouffe.
So what he's using
Dans
since
mes plats.
25 years in Mosaic, the restaurant, he has used basically all the spices from Indonesia. Not one spices that could not be used in his French, version of culinary. So every spices can travel, can be exported, can be used.
Masalahnya, I speak all the languages. Masalahnya, bumbu kering itu mudah untuk jalan seluruh dunia karena sudah kering, right? Walaupun kita keringkan dengan cara yang bagus, kualitas paling tinggi, kita keringkan dengan cara yang bagus, kita mudah ekspor. Tapi mungkin
the dry spices have been the easiest to export and travel with, but
tapi mungkin bumbu segar, ya, kayak akar atau bunga, itu yang sangat susah.
Oke.
Right? And sampai sekarang kita cuma pakai frozen, tapi rasanya sama, berubah. Jadi airnya susah dipakai. Menurut saya kita harus pakai. Saya punya satu pengalamannya. Kecombrang. Saya jatuh cinta dengan kecombrang.
Itu saya mau tanya.
Apa ya?
Yang mana?
Should I continue or stop the translation? Yeah. And saya tidak bisa mengekspor rasa itu kecuali saya bawa bunga di koperku. Satu kali selama 25 tahun ya, satu kali saya pernah rasain bunga kecicang dry frozen dari Malaysia. Waktu itu saya coba, wah rasanya persis kayak kecombrang, ya. Tapi saya hilang kontak itu. Yang dengan teknologi pasti ada cara untuk mengeksportir semua bahannya. Ya, tapi chef Indonesia juga harus jawab, apakah mereka percaya bahwa semua spice dari Indonesia bisa dipakai di luar negeri? Menurut saya bisa.
Bisa, ya, itu secara teknis, tapi itu ya.
So the challenge we're facing here really is to bring the fresh roots as well as the fresh spices and the real flavor of those overseas. I did have an experience once where I found kecombrang. Yes, the flower of, yes. However, I found it once in the Philippines, you said? Out of Malaysia. Dry frozen, but we could not find it again. I lost the contact. It was almost perfectly the taste of kecombrang. However, we have not been able to find it again. So I think, as you mentioned with technology, So technology is really the way to go with this. Could be a suggestion on how to better bring Indonesian spices and flavors overseas. Does that answer your question, Landry? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Si je peux juste ajouter, on revient au même problème, c'est la technique et la qualité.
So we go back to what we said all around, all this afternoon. It's techniques and quality.
Et bien sûr, on veut exporter tous les épices parce qu'on ne veut pas restreindre les chefs, on ne veut pas leur imposer des choses, mais on veut utiliser leur créativité. Donc il faut tout leur donner. Plus on leur donne, plus ils veulent être créatifs.
So we want to export all the spices, all the product, because we could not restrain the chef. We can't force them to use only such a small amount, and we want to use their creativity, and so we need to provide to them all those products. And what is the answer is technique, process, and technology that help to push those products to the world.
Thank you. We will need to wrap up in just a few minutes, but before we go, just one last question to Guillaume Gomez regarding the showcase dinner in Paris in 2023. What is the plan or the program, and what can we look forward to there? Yeah. The
Good
future,
question.
The future. The future.
Le mieux, c'est qu'on y travaille. Non, il faut qu'on puisse voir avec, une fois de plus, les chefs indonésiens, l'envie, quel message ils veulent passer de leur gastronomie, quel message ils veulent passer de la cuisine indonésienne. Une fois de plus, le but, c'est de se dire à quoi ça doit servir.
So the best is to see with the chef what they want to give as a message, what they want to provide, and the I forgot the last one.
Le message.
Yeah, the message of the chef. What they want for next year, what they want to bring to this event, and what they want to give as a message on behalf of their country for the culinary world.
Rayonner, c'est bien, mais il faut savoir pourquoi. Pourquoi est-ce que l'on souhaite rayonner? Est-ce que c'est pour faire passer un message culturel, un message d'attractivité? Est-ce que c'est pour que les gens viennent ici? Est-ce que c'est pour développer le commerce extérieur? Est-ce que c'est pour ouvrir, je ne sais pas, des écoles de cuisine indonésienne un petit peu partout dans le monde? Voilà. Quel est le but? Et le repas, c'est juste un outil, en fait. C'est un outil de cette promotion. Quel est le message à passer?
So what is the real message? Is it cultural? Is it to open Indonesian school in the world, the restaurants or the products? What is the real message? The dinner will be only the event to showcase, but what is behind the real message to move forward and to really achieve what you want to achieve?
Thank you, Guillaume. That was very insightful. Thank you very much. Before we wrap up, we would just... Oh, yes, silakan.
Excusez-moi. Je voudrais juste peut-être clôturer un petit peu ce séminaire qui était passionnant et vous dire que je pense qu'Auguste Escoffier serait très fier et très heureux de cette réunion.
Just a few words just to wrap up this very interesting and exciting symposium is that he thinks that Auguste Escoffier would have been extremely pleased, extremely happy to be here today because everything was vibrant and interesting.
L'objectif d'Auguste Escoffier et l'héritage que l'on transmet aujourd'hui à travers les disciples Escoffier, ce sont ces valeurs-là.
So the heritage of Auguste Escoffier and what we want to pass today, this is the value that we just, show.
Trois éléments, le partage entre les professionnels, les partages entre les producteurs et les professionnels.
So three elements. The first one is sharing among the professionals, sharing among the farmers, the producers, the professionals.
La transmission avec les jeunes, former les jeunes, leur apporter une meilleure expérience, leur permettre d'évoluer comme à travers le concours Jeunes Talents Escoffier que nous organisons chaque année.
So transmission for the young generation through the competition for the young talent. This is the future. So this is the passing the information, passing the knowledge to this new generation.
Et la solidarité, parce que la solidarité a toujours été un élément fort d'Auguste Escoffier. Et il a toujours pensé que la gastronomie, servi aux plus riches pouvait aider aussi les plus pauvres à évoluer.
And solidarity, because Augustus Escoffier always thought that not only giving and serving the rich people was only a way also to help the poorest. So solidarity among everybody, and not just toward people who can afford, but also helping the less favored in the world.
Et pour terminer, je voudrais vous transmettre les amitiés de Nicolas Sall, notre président international, que je représente, qui n'a pas pu être là, mais qui m'a déjà dit qu'il viendrait l'année prochaine. Donc...
So just and on behalf of Nicolas Sall, who is the international president of Escoffier, who could not be here today, but he is looking forward to come next. He wanted to thank all of you on his behalf.
Et puis je voudrais terminer en remerciant Gilles et les chefs et les professionnels d'Indonésie qui ont monté cette délégation à une période pas facile et qui ont déjà un an fait beaucoup de travail.
And also to thank Gilles, the president, and all the chefs of the delegation who has been extremely, how can I say, successful. Thank you. Successful because they built the association on a very, very challenging time. So, and already we see the result, very active and vibrant delegation.
Et merci, Madame, de participer à nos échanges et de montrer l'intérêt que vous portez à notre association.
And Madame, thank you very much to be part of these exchanges among us and to be interested in our association.
Merci.
Merci à tous. Thank you, everybody.
Merci beaucoup. Terima kasih, matur suksuma. Thank you so much. First of all, Ibu Rizky Mustafa, Deputy for Tourism Products and Events from the Ministry of Tourism. It was very informative to have your insights. Thank you to Disciples Escoffier International, Guillaume Gomez from the French government, of course, and of course Disciples Escoffier Indonesia and Disciples Escoffier Asia Pacific. We would like to invite everyone up front for a photo opportunity
official picture,
with
if you
Ibu
may.
and the chefs. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the Symposium of Escoffier Week.
So, yeah, we try the pictures on this side because now to get, Madam, please, if you would like to join us, because with the light, just we move a little bit.